You know, all too often, us turkey hunters, myself not included, waste entirely too much of their wild turkey. You breast out the bird, you might not even pluck it, you peel it, you breast it out, and you throw the rest away, and of course that's really, really easy, but you're wasting a whole lot of really good flavor and a lot of really good recipes that you could be using with those other turkey parts besides the breast. I'm gonna make kind of an Asian-inspired hot and sour type wild turkey soup using everything but the breast. First thing you wanna do is make stock, and in order to make stock, you have to take all of those parts. I take the carcasses, the thighs, throw in some trim end of celery, carrot, onion. The stuff you throw away, it can have skins on it, it can have roots on it, it doesn't matter. All we're trying to do here is get some flavor. So after you've got them all roasted, you dump it into a big stock pot. Then you cover that with cold water. You can throw in some more peppercorns and garlic and other flavor if you like. But the whole idea is we're gonna let this simmer. The browning part gives it flavor. The simmering part is gonna allow us to get all that collagen out of the bones and the carcass. It's gonna make for a delicious soup. So roast it into the stock pot, cold water, let it simmer for at least 8, 10, 12 hours, low heat. Keep the lid off. What you're gonna do is you're gonna concentrate the flavor and you're gonna evaporate a lot of the liquid, so make sure you keep your eye on it and make sure that there's always enough liquid to just cover it. 8 to 10 hours later, you've got the stock made. Now you wanna get rid of all the big chunks. You can just pull those out with tongs, and then I wanna strip all the meat I can off of that. Then I'm gonna pour it through a colander. Then I'm going to pour it through a colander lined with cheesecloth, and that's going to get the little chunks out. Now I have stock, and now I can start my soup. So the stock is done, and now I can start the soup. I've got a little smaller pot here, and really you just throw a bunch of stuff into a pot. The meat's already cooked. We've already made some delicious stock, and the stock is going to have the flavor of the garlic, the celery, the carrots, the onion. All of that is in there, and it's going to be absolutely delicious. Got a little olive oil in the pot. Just gonna get some celery, some carrot, and some onions. And I'm just gonna sweat those. I just want the onions to be translucent, not browned. Next, a little bit of garlic, and the reason why I didn't add the garlic earlier is I don't want to burn the garlic and make bitter garlic. Give that about 2 minutes. And now a whole bunch of mushrooms. One of the mistakes that people make is they forget how much mushrooms shrink. Mushrooms are mostly water, so mushrooms into the pot. All right, the mushrooms have reduced in size by about 2/3. This is bok choy, baby bok choy. Next up, we've got our turkey parts in there. Now I'm going to add some of that delicious stock. I've got some pickled ginger. You can use fresh or pickled. I've also got a little broccoli and some other stuff that's gonna go in there, but I want this to simmer, all right, another 5-6 minutes, just until that bok choy is just done and not overdone. Next, little baby broccoli. I put that in towards the end because otherwise it disintegrates and makes a big mess. Maybe 2 minutes with the broccoli. All right, now I wanted to make this kind of a hot and sour soup, if you've ever had that. So for sour, I've got rice vinegar. I've got about equal parts, if you go about 1/4 cup each of soy sauce, and then add a little bit of sugar. This is the sweet part. And then I'm gonna add a little sriracha, because I want it to be just a little spicy hot also. And I know that might seem like a lot of sriracha, but really it's not that much. Give that a stir. That goes into the pot. I smashed. This is an heirloom tomato, so rather than, waste it, I'm gonna add it to my soup. It's my soup. I just want to bring this to just bring it to a boil, and then I'm just gonna let it simmer for a couple more minutes. And this is almost done. So if you don't want to use the stock right away, what I do is I wait until I get a big pile of legs, carcasses, and I'll make a giant pot of stock. I do the same thing with pheasant, with quail, with chucker. As a matter of fact, if you don't have a lot of turkey, but you happen to have some extra pheasant parts, the same rule applies for all of your upland birds. Do not just breast them out and throw the rest away. You want to use all of that and make that delicious stock. You can actually put it into Ziploc bags and freeze it flat. Once it's frozen flat, then you can kind of put them into your freezer just like little bookshelves there. And whenever you need some stock, you take your turkey stock or your pheasant stock or whatever, take it out of the freezer, put it to work. It's better than bouillon. Okay, so I want to add a little bit of body to the soup. So I've got equal parts cornstarch and cold water, and I'm just going to make a little slurry. Don't try this with warm water, it won't work. Cold water and cornstarch into the soup. That's going to give it some more body. All right, I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. And now here's the cool part. This is a couple of beaten eggs, and I'm just going to put that in there. That's going to cook up immediately. It's going to give it that signature hot and sour soup look. A little fresh cilantro right on top. So, don't waste that delicious part of your turkey that some of you have been throwing away. I'm not pointing fingers, but I know it's not me, because I use every bit of that turkey I can. Here's the recipe. It is a hot and sour wild turkey soup.